Hello folks, and hello Kolysion. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, mate. So this is going to be a fun video. So for the first time in my YouTube history as a content creator, I've had someone get really angry with me. This fella called Kolysion has been following me around for the last several videos that I've made. And he really hates Automobilista 2 by Reza Studios. He says, F Automobilista 2, it's a bad game. And he doesn't like me very much. He just tells me, you talk bull, and you're a clown. And all sorts of insults and stuff. When he first started doing this, I thought I got back to him and I said, that's not very nice, mate. You know, can you talk to me without the insults, and then maybe we can talk. But he carried on, and then he just started making me laugh because he said he just made this statement. Oh, AMS2 is a bad game. It's FAMS2. It's a bad game, and I thought, bad game. So how do you, what does that mean exactly? Did a rogue copy of AMS2 jump off of his computer and kill his dog? You know, or something like that. But he's had a go at me, and he's had a go at me. And he really likes R Factor 2. And I love R Factor 2. In fact, a lot of my videos have been about how much I love R Factor 2, as well as how much I love Automobilista 2 and ACC, and he's into all of them. He's into iRacing, ACC, AC, RF2, Racefilm. He's into all of those, but he hates Automobilista 2. And I thought, you know, he's ended up. My last video I made about the lift off oversteer in Automobilista 2, which a lot of people have got a problem with, and I've been making videos making a point of the fact that it is there, but it acts very differently to how it does in some of the other games, or sims, if you like. So it's obvious at low speeds, but not at high speeds, whereas in other sims it's quite obvious at high speeds. Anyway, I made the last video about this, and he's come back. Here he is. He's come back with this comment here, saying, the clown is back, referring to me. You make a long video and big talk for nothing. AM Shite 2 is bad. Look at this video. And he makes reference to a video by Dave Cam. Now, Dave Cam, I've watched his videos for a long time now. He does a lot of iRacing. And he does the odd sort of video of what he's done with his rig. And I always find him very concise and very fair in his points. And I remember ages ago watching a video about, you know, him revisiting R Factor 2. And funnily enough, this is the video that Kolysion here has referred to. He goes, look at this video at 16 minutes 50 in which Dave in R Factor 2 takes one of the Porsche Cup cars round Luffield Corner at Silverstone, and says, can you lose control of it though? What happens if I stamp on the accelerator here? And he's doing about 77 miles per hour. He stamps on the accelerator, and sure enough, the back end comes round, and he goes, oh yeah, you can lose it. And Kolysion said, you will learn something here. David's told me so much more than you in 10 seconds than you can do with 3 long useless videos. And he goes on about all the other sims have the same feeling, but AMS2 is broken because the cars can't spin like that, like they did in Dave's video, because the game is bad, because it'll eat your dog, or something like that. I don't have a dog, but I'd be bloody annoyed if AMS2 jumped off my computer and ate my dog. I'd be really upset. But yeah, so he's just started making me laugh now. And I thought, you know, should I get annoyed with this guy? Or what? Because it's just insults and everything else. And I've come back to him. You can have a look at me. You can read all my comments here. And I've said, you're a little bundle of joy, haven't you? I feel sorry for Dave having you as a self-appointed spokesman for him, because I've got a lot of respect for him. And after yet another, again, an ignorant and insulting comment, I've got 0 for you. And I say ignorant just because I think the guy doesn't know, because maybe he's not played AMS2 in a while, but he's also made comments like, you know, the AI are rubbish. You know, that's one of his comments, you know. And I thought, well, you know, okay, fair enough. Maybe this fella doesn't like me and he doesn't like AMS2, but is he right? You know, he could be a bit rude, but is he right? And then, you know, after me saying that, he's come back and said, sorry. But as an RF2 user, AMS2 is bad for me. And I thought, all right, mate, you said sorry. That's nice. There's 1 point of respect I'll give you back there. So I thought, okay, seeing as he hates Automobilista 2, but he keeps watching my videos on Automobilista 2. He's never commented on my R Factor 2 videos. I don't know if he's even seen them. But he doesn't like Automobilista 2, but he seems to love commenting on my channel. And I'm probably getting more viewing hours out of him than anyone, because he's enjoying hating me and AMS2 so much. I thought probably I owe him a video. So you can go and watch that video with Dave if you like. And do watch Dave's channel, because his stuff's really good. And some of the stuff he said about R Factor 2, I really agreed with. Like he said, he thought R Factor 2 had some of the best force feedback he'd ever tried. I thoroughly agree on that. He said the colours are a little bit oversaturated. He said the sounds aren't as good as something like ACC, and I agree on that. But he said he had a really good time driving. So what I thought I'd do, I'm gonna boot up AMS2 here. This is for you, Kolysion, because, you know, I know you don't like me and I know you don't like AMS2, but I don't know if you know this, but I've had times in which I've gone, oh, sod AMS2. I'm not getting on with this at all, you know, in the early days. And, you know, and I've had times like that. I've had times like that with R Factor 2, believe it or not. And then I realised I had a setting wrong, you know. But it seems to be working really good for me, and I don't know what it can give you, mate. You know, I could get bogged down with all the negative stuff, or I could try and do something useful, which is what this channel's all about, you know. I just like the debate without all the insults and the nastiness, but okay, mate. Maybe you're just going to go, no, I don't like anything you say. AMS2 is rubbish, but I thought I might let you see, just, you know, let's just do an experiment. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's a bad game and I'm going to have a really rubbish time here. So what I've done is, in Dave's video, he set up a 3-lap race at Silverstone, the GT layout, and he's taken out the Porsche GT3 Cup car, the 4 litre. He set it up at 3 laps. Now, I don't know what time of day he did. I don't know how weathered in the track was. So you've got to bear in mind that those will have an effect on what the car does. I can't be exact on that. But what I have done for you, also, I've stuck the opponent skill at about 104. I get on with these cars all right at that. Usually about 106, but I take a couple of points off the skill because I'm talking whilst I'm doing the video. That takes away from some of my driving concentration. And on his video, he looks like he's put on as much AI as possible to race against. So we'll stick that at as much AI as possible. Save that. Let's go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and recreate that. He starts off the race in first position, but then he lets all the cars pass, so we can have a little bit of a jostle with the AI. So rather than doing that, the main difference I'm going to do is start off in last position, rather than just let all the cars pass. But I'm going to do 3 laps, and then at the end, I'm going to let them all go on their way. I'm going to go round to Luffield Corner, right? I'm going to get the car at 77 miles an hour and try and go to exactly the same point just after the apex of the corner where Dave does this. Stamp on the accelerator, and I'm going to see if you're right, mate. So what I've done also to make this a very fair test, I've set up the car as close as exactly as I can get it to the default setup in R Factor 2, which is what he was using. Now, this can't be exactly exact because, you know, the default setup in R Factor 2 have changed several times. So he's got the brakes set, I think, at 52/47, something like that. So I've got them as close as I can to that. He's got the rear downforce set at 6, so I've done that. And in RF2, he's got the rear downforce set at 6, so I've set it at 6 in this. He's got the default setups for that car. The anti-roll bar at the back is at about 6, and the front's at about 3. I don't have that in this. I've got Newton meters, so as high as it will go for the anti-roll bar in this on the back is 60, and I've put the front one at 20. Okay, I've also gone as far, just for you, mate, as to convert the tyre pressures, because in R Factor 2 they're kPa and in AUTOMOBILISTA 2 they're PSI. So I've done the conversion and I've got the tyres set to the exact same pressures on front and back as they are in R Factor 2. Okay, now with the suspension, all of these settings are non-adjustable in R Factor 2, and as you can see here, they're non-adjustable there. They've got arrows, but you can't adjust them. But what you can adjust is the ride height. So it's something like 7.2 centimeters in R Factor, so I've got it at 72 millimeters in AMS2, which is exactly the same, and I've done the same with the back as well. Also, you've got that mad camber as well on these cars, and it's set to 5 degrees, minus 5 degrees each in R Factor 2, so I've done exactly the same thing here. I've set the toe as close as damned it as I can get. I think it's something like 1.74 or something like that in R Factor. I can't get that in this because it'll only go 0.1 to 0.2. So 1.7 something is closer to 2. So I've set that at 2, and I've done a similar thing with the back as well. Now with the differential in R Factor 2, the preload on the default setup of the Porsche is 85. I can't have 85 because it'll only let me do 80 or 90. So 5% either way is as close as you get. So I'm setting it to 90. Now in R Factor 2 you don't have any control over the amount of, it doesn't have the setting for as many clutches as you have that, don't have that setting in R Factor 2, but you do in AUTOMOBILISTA 2, and you don't have any control over the power and coast ramps or viscous lock. So I just thought, well, if the cars, I've seen how many clutches the car's got available to have, and I think if the car's got, it's 10 clutches is maximum. So if the car's got 10 clutches, I'm going to assume that they're using that in R Factor 2, and that's what's available, so I'm going to use that. Power ramp, I've looked up the diff quite a lot under power as far as it will go, because I like doing that, because in this car, you know, the Porsche's got quite a lot of push understeer, so I use that amount of locking to sort of try and overcome that slightly in the Porsche, and I've given it less on the coast ramp to help with some of that elusive lift-off oversteer in AUTOMOBILISTA 2, which apparently doesn't exist, but it does, but not exactly the same as other sims, but that's another debate. And the viscous lock I've just set at 100. Give it some viscous locking. I don't know what it is in R Factor 2 because you don't have that setting. But anyway, I'm gonna now the version of the car in R Factor 2. You've got, if you go into your custom settings in R Factor 2, you've got 3 different variants on it. You've got the endurance settings, which have different springs, and then you've got the cup setting, which has the hardest springs and no ABS. So we're going to have ABS off. And we're going to do a 3-lap race. I'm going to see if the AI are terrible, as you say. And I'm going to see if I enjoy myself over a 3-lap race. And I'm going to see if my dog that doesn't exist, because I don't have one, doesn't get eaten by AMS2. And see if the AI are really bad. See if the car handles really badly on these settings, which are near enough to exactly the same as they are in R Factor 2, give or take. And then at the end, I'm gonna right at the end of the video, I'm gonna see if I can do the same thing that Dave did with his car. And like I said, do go and watch Dave's videos; they're brilliant. And Kolysion, seeing as you know, you're probably going to come back and hate me again, but I don't know, maybe this will give you something to enjoy, because this is just for you and anyone else that hates AMS2. I love AMS2, I love R Factor 2, I love ACC. You know, we're very lucky with the amount of sims we've got these. Anyway, let's just get on with it. See how we do. So here we go. Make sure our ABS is off. There we go. And green. Good start immediately. I've got a blue Porsche right beside me. Get on the brakes here. Can I keep it clean through the first corner? Yes, I've got a Porsche. A white and black Porsche right on my back. Oh, there's a red one there. Now, one of the points you've made is that the AI are rubbish in AUTOMOBILISTA 2. I always thought that the AI in R Factor 2 was some of the best in the industry. But over the development of AMS2, I've found that the AI have got better and better. There have been points where they were really quite bad, but right at the moment of making this video, I honestly think these are some of the best in the industry as well. They've really come a long way. Whoa! They make mistakes, but so they're not perfect, just like they do in R Factor 2. I love that. But in many ways, oh god, we're nearly 3 wide. You've got the red on the inside. Porsche just overtook me on the outside. In many ways, there are points that the AI, excuse my gear changes there, that the, oh my word, look at that! Got a car gone straight over, and we got damage on full, by the way. The damage in this game is really good, so if I get in trouble, you know, I am going to properly damage my car. I'm going to let this guy go past. I'm talking too much, can't concentrate on my driving. I think there are points in AUTOMOBILISTA 2 where the AI are now, in certain respects, are better. That's my honest opinion. They are better than R Factor 2's AI. In other respects, there's still some things that the AI in R Factor 2 do better. But really, I think they are more than on a par now. And of course, things are going to get interesting, because if you keep an eye on the R Factor 2 update roadmap developments, they have made mention that the AI, they'll be looking at doing a global update on those at some point. So we should be looking forward to even better AI in R Factor 2. So far, by the way, I'm having a great time. So, I don't know which one's better, R Factor 2, AMS 2, I don't know, but I'm having a great time. I generally find I have a great time in R Factor 2 and AUTOMOBILISTA 2 and ACC. I generally have a great time. Each one's got their pros and cons, if you like. But okay, we use that diff that I've got under power, locked up a bit to pump the throttle, get the car around the corner. We've got 2 AI there hanging back. I'm near the back of the field. Can I make a place? I don't want to dive down the inside too hard. No, I've locked up the brakes a bit, did dive it a bit, but I've managed not to hit the car on the inside there, and I've made a place. Brilliant. So this setup's working very well for me. It's nice and stable. I've got a little bit of wiggle room on the back end. And the AI have been, you know, so far, I've gone wide, that's my driving. Oh, and I've got a warning from going over the track limits. I do like that about AMS2, it's got really good track limits. I've got that green Porsche is really giving me some attention at the back, it's giving me some real challenge. But I've held them off. But I'm now way behind the cars in front, way out of the slipstream. The slipstream effect I do find in AUTOMOBILISTA. Oh, look at that! Yellow car up ahead having a proper little wobble there. He pulled out a bit too hard to get past the red car. I'm losing my train of thought here. Sorry, I'm just having too much fun driving. Now, the force feedback in R Factor 2 is fantastic. The force feedback in AMS2 I'm loving more and more. I don't know if it's just because of the way my steering wheel is set up and works with it. I'm using a FANATEC Clubsport, and or I've just got the right sort of settings, but I'm really loving the force feedback in AUTOMOBILISTA 2. There's a little bit more fidelity in R Factor 2, you know, and but I'd say there are more similarities than differences, you know. If you go through all of the differences between the 2 games, or this and quite a few other games, if you stack them up against the similarities, there's many, many more similarities. We're making a bit of pace here. Can I get... And then there's, of course, there's the graphics difference and the sound difference. Now, as Dave said, he wasn't amazingly impressed with the sound in R Factor 2. And I must say, nor am I. The sounds in R Factor 2 are definitely one of the weak points. The sounds in AUTOMOBILISTA 2, they've been complained about as well, but I generally find them a little bit better. There are still some points of R Factor 2 where it's got its merits, but it doesn't compare to something like, say, ACC. The graphics, now, because I used to do fine art and design, I kind of appreciate the graphics in R Factor 2 and AUTOMOBILISTA 2. You know, I find AMS2 is a bit more David Hockney, quite stark colours and fine lines, and then AUTOMOBILISTA 2 is a bit more, Edward Hopper, you know, a bit more contrast, maybe a bit more saturation as well, but without the lonely feeling of isolation from Nighthawks, if you know that painting. Great painting. Oh, look, and there we go. Race is over. I've had a good time. I've had a really good time. As Dave said in his video, you know, those 3 laps have gone past very quickly, and I've really enjoyed myself. And let's see, I was in 25th place out of 31 cars, so I've got a decent bit of competition there. Now I'm going to let the field go on its way now, so I can get the car down to 77 miles per hour. Sounds a bit like sounds a bit like Back to the Future, does it? Marty, you've got to get the Porsche to 77 miles per hour exactly, so we can jump into the path. And I have to be in second gear because Dave was in second gear. And I'm going to do exactly what he did. We've got 3 laps of wear on the tyres now. Now, the track temperature and everything is gonna that's going to be different to a certain degree, but I don't know. So let's get to, not 77 miles per hour, sorry, 77 kilometres per hour. So there we are, we're at 77, we're in second gear, and he does it about here. And he keeps the throttle on till about that, and look, the car's spun round. Let's try that again just for good measure. So I've got to get the DeLorean to 70. Oh, it's a Porsche. We're not going to get to the future in that, Marty. Okay, here we go again, and yeah. So you can lose it, as Dave says in his video. So there you go. I've just had a really good time, and I don't know, Kolysion, maybe that's, I don't know, maybe you hated that entire video. I hope you've enjoyed hating it. But to anyone that doesn't hate AUTOMOBILISTA 2, I mean, I think that was great. I had a bloody good time. Look, I love this. Just over here, you can see the wing mirror vibrating a bit. I like that little touch. You know, everything's got its pros and cons. You've got wonderful, amazing laser scan tracks. So much detail on those tracks in R Factor 2. It's unbelievable. I love the Porsche Cup in R Factor 2. And I do find that some people struggle with it, or at least I struggled with it, under acceleration and braking, because the cambers are so ridiculous. There we go. Look, lost the back end again. This is the point he made. You made, mate. You said the cars are on rails. Well, hang on. How can I do this then? It's brilliant, isn't it? I love the damage in this. The damage in R Factor 2 is quite good, you know. But mainly physically, there's not much visual damage. But I actually like I have to say this, mate, and I know you're going to disagree with me, but I'm sorry. But the damage in AMS2 I like more. There's more of it. You can damage, you can lose a gear, you know, which you can't do in R Factor 2. Transmissions are properly modelled. You know, you have to use the clutch if you've got a manual car with a clutch. Whereas in R Factor 2 you don't, even if you've got a manual car. That's one thing they might update now that they've got this whole motorsport games thing going on. I expected to see updates to the game, and they've already done updates to. I was overjoyed when they updated Circuit d'Azur, because that had major problems with the AI. I mean, that's the thing. Look, R-Factor 2 has been out for years, and it's had major problems that haven't been addressed for a very long time, and now they're being addressed. AMS2, come on, give it a bit of credence. It's not that bad. It's only been out just over a year, and they've addressed so much already. Reza, you have to remember as well, there's a reason Reza and Studio 397 do work together. You know, as you mentioned yourself, there's the Reza pack for R-Factor 2, which has a bunch of the cars from AUTOMOBILISTA, the original, in it, and they're great. And yeah, there is a huge difference between the lift-off oversteer characteristics between R-Factor 2 and this video, which I pointed out in my last video. But anyway, I really enjoyed that, and in fact I'm going to say to you, Kolysion, thank you for saying sorry. I really appreciated that, and thanks for actually reminding me of Dave's video, because I did watch that ages ago, and I really liked his look at R-Factor 2, because I know he's a big R-Racing fan mainly, so it was nice to see him do that. But thanks to Dave as well for giving me, I don't know, inspiration, cars, or the excuse to come and try these Porsches at Silverstone, because to be honest, I hadn't tried this combo before. So there you go. I've not had a bad time. AMS2 hasn't eaten my dog. And, yeah, I managed to get the Porsche, to get the back out, you know, under power. Let's do that again. We'll end the video on that. Just one more for good luck. Oh, I'm in first, and he's being second because Dave was in second. 77 miles per hour, 80, lower it a bit, 79. Keep it about 70. There she goes. Kilometers per hour, sorry. I could actually up the preload on this diff and make this car mental. But we're not doing that. Anyway, if you still hate me, alright. But there you go. There's a bit of clowning around from Tarmac Terrorist, the clown, for you in AUTOMOBILISTA 2. I've just had a great time. Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye.